What if I told you that an old, grey Nintendo cartridge, something you might have had lying around in your basement, just sold for nearly $100,000? No, I'm not kidding. This isn't just any game. It's the holy grail of video game collecting. We're talking about the 1990 Nintendo World Championships cartridge. Stick around, because the story behind this piece of plastic is absolutely wild, and the recent eBay auction that saw it sell for $99,902 is a masterclass in high-stakes collecting. So, what makes this specific cartridge so ridiculously valuable? Let's rewind the clock to 1990. Nintendo was at the peak of its power. The NES was a cultural phenomenon. To celebrate this dominance and find the best Nintendo player in the world, they launched a massive, multi-city tournament, the Nintendo World Championships. Think of it like the Olympics, but with more pixelated plumbers and less spandex. The competition was fierce. Players had exactly 6 minutes and 21 seconds to rack up the highest score possible across 3 different games: Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris. First, you had to collect 50 coins in Super Mario Bros. Then, your remaining time carried over to Rad Racer, where you had to complete a special custom track. Finally, whatever time was left was used to score as many points as possible in Tetris. It was a genius combination of platforming, racing, and puzzle-solving skills. The tournament traveled to 29 American cities, and the winners from each city moved on to the finals at Universal Studios Hollywood. It was a huge event, a real spectacle for its time. Now, here's where the cartridges come in. The games weren't played on standard retail copies. Nintendo created special, custom cartridges just for the tournament. There were 2 main versions: the iconic grey ones used in the competition itself, and a much, much rarer gold version. For the tournament, 116 of these special grey cartridges were made. 90 of them were given to the semi-finalists from the city competitions. These are the ones that pop up for sale occasionally and cause a frenzy in the collecting community. The other 26 were gold, given out as prizes in a separate contest run by Nintendo Power magazine. We'll talk more about the mythical gold carts later, because they're a whole other level of insane rarity. So, these 90 grey cartridges were given to kids who were good at video games back in 1990. Imagine being a teenager, winning a local Nintendo tournament, and being handed this weird-looking grey cartridge. You'd probably think it was cool, a neat souvenir. But would you ever imagine it would one day be worth more than a luxury car? Most likely not, and that's part of the magic. Many of these cartridges were played, stored in dusty boxes, or even lost over the years. No one knows exactly how many of the original 90 still exist today. Experts estimate it's probably around half, which makes each one that surfaces an incredible find. Let's fast forward to the present day and talk about this specific auction. An eBay listing pops up for a 1990 Nintendo World Championships cartridge. The seller, who goes by the username Murison, provides a compelling backstory. He says he's the original owner, one of the 90 semi-finalists from the 1990 tours. He even mentions he's selling it to pay off bills and get a fresh start in life. This personal story immediately adds a layer of authenticity and human connection to the sale. It's not just a dealer flipping a rare item. It's a person partying with a piece of their personal history. But the collecting world is skeptical. A claim this big needs proof. The cartridge itself has a torn label. The number 302 is handwritten on it, and part of the Nintendo World Championships sticker is ripped off, revealing the circuit board underneath. To a casual observer, it looks damaged, maybe even fake. But to seasoned collectors, these details are clues. The handwritten number is consistent with how these tournament carts were marked. The wear and tear, while unfortunate, suggests it's been around for a while and wasn't just recently manufactured to deceive people. The auction starts, and the bids start pouring in. The price climbs steadily. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. The retro gaming community is buzzing. Websites, forums, and YouTube channels are all tracking the auction live. Is it real? Will it break the previous sales record? The previous record for a grey cart was around $23,000, set a few years prior. This auction was already blowing past that. Then, things got really interesting. As the price soared past $50,000, a well-known collector and game store owner named Pat Contry, also known as Pat the Nespunk, got involved. He publicly offered to fly out and verify the cartridge in person. This was a huge moment. Having a trusted figure in the community vouch for its authenticity would be a game-changer. However, the seller declined the offer, which raised a few red flags for some. But others argued that the seller was likely overwhelmed and just wanted the auction to run its course. Despite the drama, the bidding continued its relentless climb. The final hours of the auction were a nail-biter. The price jumped from $70,000 to $80,000, then $90,000 in a flurry of last-minute bids. When the digital gavel finally fell, the winning bid was an astounding $99,902, plus shipping, of course. The total came to just over $100,000. The entire collecting world was stunned. This wasn't just a new record, it completely shattered the old one. It set a new benchmark for what a collectible video game could be worth. So, who would pay $100,000 for a single NES game? The winner remained anonymous for a while, but it was later revealed to be a collector who had been searching for this specific cartridge for years. For him, it wasn't just about the money. It was about owning a true piece of gaming history, the ultimate centerpiece for a collection. This sale had a massive ripple effect. It legitimized video game collecting in a way that few other events had. Suddenly, news outlets like CNN and Forbes were reporting on it. People who had long dismissed video games as simple toys were forced to see them as valuable cultural artifacts, much like rare coins, stamps, or comic books. Now, I mentioned the gold cartridges earlier. If the grey ones are the Holy Grail, the gold ones are the Ark of the Covenant. Only 26 were ever made, given as prizes in a Nintendo Power magazine giveaway. They're identical in function to the grey carts, but housed in a shimmering gold-colored shell. Their rarity is legendary. One famously sold to a collector for over $100,000 in a private sale years ago, and another was featured on an episode of Pawn Stars, though a deal was never made. Today, a gold Nintendo World Championships cart is considered by many to be the single most valuable video game in existence, with a potential value that could easily reach $500,000 or more if one ever came up for public auction. This $100,000 sale of the grey cart really opened the floodgates. In the years that followed, we've seen other games reach astronomical prices. A sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. Sold for over $2 million. A prototype of The Legend of Zelda sold for $870,000. The market for high-end, graded, and rare video games has exploded. And it all goes back to moments like this auction, which captured the public's imagination and showed what was possible. It proved that the nostalgia and history packed into these tiny plastic rectangles hold immense value, both monetary and cultural. For the original owner, the sale was life-changing. He took a souvenir he won as a kid and turned it into $100,000 to help his family. It's a testament to the idea of holding on to things you love, because you never know what they might be worth someday. For the collecting community, it was a landmark event that elevated the hobby to a new level. And for all of us, it's just a fascinating story about a very special video game. It's a reminder that history is everywhere, even in the humble grey cartridges of our childhood. What do you think? Is any video game worth $100,000? Do you have any rare games hiding in your attic? Let me know in the comments below. It's always amazing to hear what treasures people have uncovered. Thanks so much for watching and diving into this piece of gaming history with me. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the world of retro gaming. We'll see you in the next one.